Writing an effective introduction is the most important aspect of mains answers, because that is where you are going to impress the evaluator immediately. The evaluator first, he or she is going to read your introduction. So the introduction should be very impressive. That should pull the attention of the evaluator. The evaluator should feel, okay, a serious candidate, we have to focus on evaluating this paper. That much attention you have to pull with your introduction only. Apart from this, apart from impressing, the introduction should also inform the evaluator that you have understood the demand of the question well. So two purposes. One is your introduction should impress the evaluator. Number two, your introduction should convey to the evaluator that you have understood the demand of the question well. Due to this much importance, we have decided to spend good quality time in introduction alone. So the next two sessions, so in this warm-up series of 100 days answer writing challenge, today and next video will be on introduction only. Now, for explaining how to write introduction, for our convenience, we are dividing the introduction into two categories, category 1, category 2. So in category 1 questions, the demand of the question will be explicit. The keywords mentioned in the question will be explicit. So it will be easy for you to identify and write an introduction. In category 2, there will be multiple dimensions and you have to spend some time in analyzing, finding out how you have to structure your introduction. So in today's video, we will focus on category 1. So before going into the question, let me give you a step-by-step approach on how to understand the question, how to find out the keyword, how to link it with the demand. See, number 1, in any introduction, be it category 1 or category 2, 3 things are very important. First one is keyword, second is context, third is link it with the demand of the question. All these 3 are part of introduction only. So if you take any question, you have to find out the keyword, the most important keyword. If you remove that keyword, that question should be meaningless. Okay. For example, think of a movie. Hero of the movie is the keyword. If you remove the hero, there is no story, there is no movie only, right? Like that, in a question, find out the most significant keyword. If you remove that, there is no question. So if the keyword is very obvious, you need not define that keyword. If the keyword is little complex, if it is unusual, if it is very much concept oriented, okay, then you can define that keyword. In the introduction only, you can give some one-line introduction, one-line explanation or definition about that keyword, right? So if the keyword is obvious, don't define, find out the keyword. If the keyword is little complex, if it warrants some definition to be mentioned, you have to mention. Next is context. See, why this question was asked. There could be some reason, there could be some news report, there could be some current affairs background, that is one thing, or maybe it is very significant, naturally it is very significant. Okay. So number 1, the context could be largely from current affairs, or the context could be the nature of topic. The nature of topic itself is very important. Inflation is very important. Okay. Sometimes the inflation question can be asked because of the current relevance, or sometimes inflation itself is very important, question can be asked. So find out the context. Okay. Next, link it with the demand. The demand will be mentioned in the question directly or indirectly. Okay. So for example, there can be a keyword in that question. The keyword might be linked with the challenges, the keyword might be linked with solutions, the keyword can be linked with significance, whatever. So you find out the demand and link the keyword with the demand. All these things has to be done in the introduction. Right. Now let me go into the question. I will explain these 3 steps in the question so that you will understand it well. So we are going into category 1. Look at the question. What are the major challenges of public distribution system in India? How can it be made effective and transparent? So usually what students do, they will define PDS. They will define what is PDS for a couple of lines. Then they will put a subheading. Okay, what are the major challenges? 1, 2, 3. They will put another subheading, that is how it can be made effective and transparent. 1, 2, 3 or 4, 5 points, whatever. Then they will go for conclusion. But now we are focusing only on the introduction. Let's forget about the subheadings and all. Now I said most cases people will define PDS, but they will miss out the context, they will miss out the linking it with the demand. Okay, and this is a 10 marker question, you have to keep it in mind. So we cannot write more also. And also public distribution system is relatively a familiar concept. Defining PDS in this 10 mark is not that important. If you want, you can define, but you have to keep it very, very precise. Okay, but the most important in my feeling is the context as well as the demand. See, what is the context? Look, by reading the question only we will understand the context. Public distribution system is the keyword. The question is asking about challenges, and the question is asking about how it can be made effective and transparent. This itself highlights that public distribution system is very, very significant. It is very, very significant, and there are some issues. It is very, very significant, and there are some issues and how it can be solved. So the context is the significance of public distribution system and its issues, and we have to link it with the demand of the question. See, I am giving you a model introduction. Look, public distribution system governed under the National Food Security Act 2013 ensures food security by providing subsidized food grains to nearly 80 crore people. So, I am highlighting nearly 80 crore people are getting benefited because of the subsidized food grains. So, I am mentioning a fact. And I am also mentioning PDS system stems from National Food Security Act. So, this is highlighting the context of this PDS. It is so significant, it is helping nearly 80 crore people. Okay, that is the context, that is why the question is being asked. If you want, you can define PDS also, but you have to keep it very, very precise. Now, from here I have highlighted the keyword. I have shown its significance in the form of the context. Now from here I have to link it with the demand. So look, the linking part. However, it is so significant. However, there is persistent issues that continue to undermine its effectiveness. So PDS is so significant. Why it is so significant? Because it is helping 80 crore people. Okay, I am putting a fact there, and this is so significant, so there should not be any problem, but there is problem. There are some issues which undermines the effectiveness. So now I have given the link. Now this part is connecting to the demand. Because there is issue, we have to make it efficient, we have to make it effective, we have to make it transparent. Why there is issues? There are some challenges. So now you can put the subheading. So what are the major challenges? You put the subheading major challenges, you give points, then you can proceed with the answer. So in this introduction, I am highlighting the context, I am highlighting the significance of this PDS, okay, and I am linking it with the demand of the question. Clear? We will move on to the second question. Okay, from here we can write the major challenges, right? We will move on to the second question. Explain the causes and effects of coastal erosion in India. What are the available coastal management techniques for combating the hazards? Now here immediately you will feel that coastal erosion is the keyword. Coastal erosion is the hero of the topic, but here there are two heroes. The main hero is not coastal erosion. The main hero is India's coastline. Why we have to worry about coastal erosion? Assume if India has no coastline, why we have to worry? That means India has coastline. Okay. If the coastline is very, very small, why we have to worry? The coastline is so big, that is why we have to worry. It is so big that it is very, very functional for millions of people. So such a coastline, when it is getting eroded, then that has to be addressed. This is the context. This is the context. The coastline is the most important hero of this question, and coastal erosion will be the next hero, maybe second hero we can say. Okay, or both are equally important. So now look at the introduction. Here again, lot of students, what they will do, what is coastal erosion, causes and effects of coastal erosion, what are the available coastal management techniques. That is also a decent answer. I am not saying that is a bad answer. I am not saying that is a bad introduction. That is a decent introduction. But if you want to make it more effective, that is where I am trying to help you. To make it more effective, find out the context. The context can be current affairs, it can be some report, because in the context only you can fill in with some facts. Okay. So, look, India has a coastline of 11,000 kilometers, which supports 250 million people livelihood. Okay, so I am setting the context. I am showing the seriousness of the, significance of the coastline. According to the National Center for Coastal Research, about 33.6% of the country's coastline experience erosion, which is highlighting that coastal erosion as a major environmental and socio-economic challenge. See, up to this, that is 33.6%, that is the context. Then what I am doing, I am taking it, I am extending it, I am extending the point, saying that this highlights coastal erosion is a major environmental and socio-economic challenge that necessitates sustainable coastal management. So in this point, I am linking it with the demand of the question. Right? So I am highlighting the significance with the context, and I am linking it with the demand of the question. Sir, what will happen if I simply write the definition of coastal erosion and if I proceed? That impression will not come. Okay, so this is going to bring some more impression. Sir, your introduction looks very big, sir. Previous introduction was small. Previous introduction was 10 marker. This introduction is 15 marker. So we have scope to write more. 10 marker question, introduction, you can devote around 30 words. 15 marker, you can devote up to 60 words. Max, I would say 50 to 60 words max. 15 marker. Since there is scope, we are writing it. If this is going to be 10 marker question, I will make it further precise. Right? So from here, now you put subheading, causes of coastal erosion. The question only it has been given. From there you can start writing the answer. Okay, we will see the next question. Elaborate the scope and significance of supply chain management of agricultural commodities in India. So here the key word or the key concept is the supply chain management in the backdrop of agricultural commodities. Supply chain management in the backdrop of agricultural commodities. This is not a usual terminology or usual concept. So here it is better we define what is the supply chain management in the context of agricultural commodities. Okay, so what we will do, we are going to explain the key word. Here it is not one word, it is a key concept. So we are going to explain the key concept. Then what we have to do, this key concept, context. See, why the question is being asked, elaborate the scope and significance of supply chain management of agri commodities. That means in agricultural commodities, supply chain management is very, very important. Why it is very important? It is important, fine. Why it is very important? That is the context. You have to explain that. Then link it with the demand. It's a 10 marker question, so you cannot write more. So look at the model introduction which I am giving. So agricultural supply chain management involves coordinating the production, storage, processing and distribution of farm produce. It is crucial for India. Why it is significant? It is crucial for India, which loses agricultural produce of 1.5 lakh crore annually. So this context is also highlighting the linkage with the question, because India loses 1.5 lakh crore of farm produce annually. So supply chain management is going to be very, very important for India. So from here, you can start writing the subheadings, you can fill the answer. Alright, so just 3 things. Keyword, if you want you define, if it is very obvious don't define. Context, why the question was asked. For example, if you take the supply chain management, I am saying in India there is post harvest loss. If you want to reduce that post harvest loss, you have to go for supply chain management. So that is the context. Coastal erosion, the coastal erosion is seriously happening because of the report. That is the context. The question was asked, right, followed by the report, assume. So I am highlighting the report, that becomes the context. Keyword, context, then the most important, linkage with the demand. If you are not linking, then the introduction will be hanging separately, the subheadings will be hanging separately. Okay, it is not that difficult. When we frequently practice, automatically you will be in a position to effectively write an introduction. See, we all talk about presentation. Presentation in mains answers is not about drawing a map. It is not about coming up with a flow chart. It is not about coming up with a pie chart. It is not about mentioning too many examples and putting a triangle. That is not presentation. Presentation is effective communication. You are going to speak through your paper, you are going to speak with the evaluator. You have to effectively communicate to the evaluator that you are a serious candidate and you have good clarity on why this question was asked and what is the demand of the question. That has to be conveyed as soon as possible. An evaluator is not going to spend more than a minute for evaluating one answer. In that 1 minute, you have to impress, make the evaluator guilty to give you more than 4 marks. In a 10 marker question, you have to get more than 4 marks. In a 15 marker question, you have to get more than 6 marks. Only then you will be able to cross 100 plus in general studies. Minimum you have to cross this, for which all this effectiveness has to be added, right? So now I am giving you assignment. So I am given you 5 questions. Now for these 5 questions, spend some time, find out the keyword, find out the context, find out the demand and link the keyword with the demand. Sometimes you might fail to decode the context, that is okay. But the most important is keyword, linking that with demand is the most important. So that you practice. I hope this video was useful. I hope this series will add more value in your mains answer writing preparation. Right. I will see you tomorrow with the category 2 set of questions. Till then, bye. Take care from Guna Mathivanan.